So I was looking once again to Nick Himo's channel, and he's got one video titled My Favorite YouTubers in 2022. So just like all his content, I love this content as well. He talks about this one guy called Hinds. So Hindz. So I went to his channel called Hinds. In hindsight, I guess he plays with the words hindsight and hindsight. And it's true that he has a very relaxing energy, a very chill vibe. So I subscribe to that as well. So thank you, Nick, once again. It talks about self-love, drinking tea, and building confidence. So he pours like 2 cups of tea. He sort of makes like a tea ceremony where he drinks the tea with you in one of the videos that I watched. And this is such great content, and he also talks about allure. Allure in Turkish means okay, let's do it, olur yapalım kind of thing. And allure is O-L-I-U-R, allure online, and he has very good content also about income ideas, how to generate income. Everybody's question in their minds for people who want to make income from social media, how to generate passive income, which means you set up some plans. Maybe you set up like an education video website, or you have your videos in websites like that educate people. What was it? There was one on Udemy. I think one of them was a Turkish founder too. And then there's one that is I was watching it. I'll get that information, but anyway, that was interested, so everybody is asking questions about passive income. How can I make money while I'm sleeping? Which is, I guess, all of us, we have that dream, right? So basically you can do, of course, first you have to learn a topic very well. Either you know some topics, like Nick, for example, he knows how to make videos, he knows how to make conferences, so he's an expert in those areas. So right off the bat, he could, if he chooses to, do an online training course about those topics, because he's been doing those things for years and he's an expert at it. As for me, for example, I'm not an expert on anything for the moment. When you look at my past, I went to French school and spent my summers in Switzerland. So what I learned there was French. I learned French. And then after in college, I studied in Colorado, liberal arts. So I took creative writing, I took sculpture, I was interested in creative things. And then after at Parsons School of Design, I completed my degree in design management. So a little bit of business, little bit of managing designers, sort of like being the gap between managers and designers. But then internet was happening and I got an internship at Amazon, and I fell in love with the whole idea of because I love to spend time at the house and I love technology and computers. Internet for me was like, wow, that's the next frontier, you know. This was in early 2000, you know. I already saw that internet was going to grow. So I opened an E-Trade account. I told myself, what are the shares that help the growth of internet? So I bought shares in Intel, in Microsoft. In those days, you know, those were the big companies that were making products for computers. And of course, I had invested in some busts, such as eToys. I was like, wow, that's so cool, selling toys online. And so I invested in eToys, and then after a few weeks later, just out of the blue, Amazon declares that it's going to sell toys. So eToys shares suddenly plummeted. But all these experiences dealing with NASDAQ and everything, that was a lot of fun. I wish I was smarter about learning that as a foreigner, when you sell your stocks, you pay almost 50% tax in the States. Also, I wish I held on longer to some stocks that did well, like Apple and Google. If I could see where they would arrive to these days, you know, I would hold on to it despite the 50% tax. You know, so it was really interesting to learn about passive income, money-making habits, income streams, because that brought me back to my days of college and after college. But then after college, I figured, actually I wanted to work in advertising agency, but I told myself internet is the future. So I decided to work for interactive agencies. So for agencies that were making web design, or, you know, web-based games and banners and these kind of things for customers. So we would either work with ad agencies. At that time it was more like that, and then as the internet advertising grew, e-marketing grew, we became to work directly with brands. So by then I came to Turkey. I did my military service, because military service is obligatory in Turkey. I did it for 16 months, and then I worked for a web agency called Netwise. It was founded by really smart people. Ipek was a Harvard grad, and John was really genius in technology. And we were doing some websites for really big corporations, big banks, big telecom companies, you know. And then I worked for, as a project manager, I worked. So I was coordinating the design team and the technology team, creating the database, you know, using .NET, and then the designers doing the front page and the layouts with Adobe products. So I was seeing that world a little bit, but I was more into the business side of it, always talking to clients, always getting feedbacks from them, and then having those revisions made. So I never did those things myself. I was always the project manager that had these things done to the appropriate teams. And then later I moved to the corporate side. One of my clients, Turkcell, who was, who was the biggest telecom company in Turkey, they asked me to come and create the e-marketing department in there. So I was happy to go to the client side. But then I figured that this was completely different environment than working for an agency, because you're suddenly part of a huge corporation. The expectations are different, the game is different, it's so much more competitive in terms of who's going to get the next promotion, who wants to be closer to the management, who wants to be nice, seen nice to the management, and then I moved to a competitor called Avea. I worked for the e-marketing team over there, but again the same problems happened. So after I decided that I should do some sort of a startup. So with a few friends we tried our technology startup, which was going to be web design, e-marketing consultancy. The government was going to establish a technology, how should I say, technology platform, a techno city in a place called Yalova, away from Istanbul, which is the main city where I was living. So a few people took the plunge. They rented places there waiting for the government to come and make this technology thing happen. It was going to be the Silicon Valley of Turkey, so this was something that really motivated me. But actually, because of political situations and economic problems, that never happened. So eventually we had to close shop because the few clients we had were in Istanbul. It was taking too long to go back and forth, and we had based all our plans on that techno city happening. And it just didn't work out. So after that I did a bit of consulting in startups, because I love the energy of a new company, the energy of a startup. When a company starts and you got young people who are trying to come up with a business plan, and they are so inspired and they are so willing, they're so hungry to get it done. And we have like Steve Jobs quotes and Bill Gates quotes and Steve Wozniak quotes. So all these things, sort of gave me a push. So I did a little bit of mentoring for some universities, startup divisions, and the one project that I thought about investing in, actually it had to do with social media, it had to do with influencers. It was all about influencer marketing. So this was something that I was interested in for a long time to come. Well, that investment didn't happen. I guess I just couldn't pull the trigger, because I wasn't sure how fast and how firm the idea would grow. I don't know how it's growing these days, but I hope they're doing well. It was the idea of creating an online platform where the influencers can meet marketers and brands. I had seen many examples of it in the States, in Europe, in Canada, where you're an influencer, even if you're a small influencer with, let's say, 2,000 followers, 5,000 followers, you still write your niche. You say, I'm a micro influencer in that niche. If there's any brands, look at my page, look at my YouTube channel, whatever your channel is, Instagram, YouTube, or whatever. And then if a brand is interested, they could send you a campaign saying, for example, can you talk about this? We're going to pay you $100 for a mention, that kind of a thing. After that, then I guess comes really the plummet of my life, where in 2009, so about 11, 12, 13 years ago, I can't believe it's been 13 years already, I have this horrible car accident where I almost died, where I had many operations, both in Turkey and in New York City, and pretty much This is a period where I'm always in crutches. My ankle is frozen now to 90 degrees. They almost had to amputate it, cut it. But I found online, since I love doing online research, I found this doctor, Robert Rosbrook. He's awesome. He's at Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City. And the Hospital for Special Surgery only specializes in these kinds of bone and orthopedic traumas, like either a lot of footballers go there because when they try to shoot a goal, they have a huge collision and they have ankle problems, knee problems. Or people who have one leg shorter or longer than the other. Or a lot of US veterans who had problems in the war. So I had my surgeries there, and thank God at least I can walk now. But for many years I had a lot of pain, I had a lot of problems. And then I guess in 5-6 years when I started to come back to life, this must have been around 2004 or so. No, 2009 the accident, so 2010, around 2015 then I guess. So of course I didn't work for those 5 years and didn't do much. Around 2015 I started to do some mentoring again with young people in the Istanbul Technical University, and then later, my father passed away, so that was a trauma, and he left all of us, the children, some money to invest. So I met a guy in the apartment building where I live. He said that his relative, the brother of his wife, had a business in industry, healthy food industry. He was doing soybeans. He said that he looks to grow, he looks for an investor who knows, foreign languages. And then I was like, okay, this could maybe work. So I rushed, of course. I still had my ankle things going on. I rushed into the investment without really doing a lot of due diligence into the company. I trusted my neighbor and I just trusted that person. But it turns out that person was in a huge debt, and he had hidden that debt from me. He had shown me wrong financials. The company was not in such a good shape. It was making much less revenue and almost no profits than what he told me. So of course that was a big blow. Well, until of course I started going to the office and became more involved. It took me 1.5 years, 2 years. And meanwhile, I also did a stock investment through another neighbor from that place, the apartment building, Istinya Park Residence, where I was living. Initially, he made me make money on stock market. Then he said, we will make some bigger trades. So invest bigger, and because you don't have the time to do the trades, just give me your online trading password. And like a dummy, once again, I trusted that guy because he was making good money. He had the nice apartment, nice car, and I was eating dinner with their family. We became like real close friends. So, but it turns out that guy was also scamming me as well. So within a year or two, I suddenly found myself being scammed by two people. So I right away gave my shares to the guy, but of course a lot of debt was made. He didn't even pay the insurance of all his family members who were insured by the company. So I had to go and close those debts as well, in addition to my investment, which was very big. So, as they say, life happens. And with the stock market, I still have legal dealings going on, because now the stock market has opened a file against me saying that I did some stock manipulation, where I wasn't even the one doing the trade. But of course, since I can't prove that, we'll see what happens. But next year, that trial might end, and I may have to pay a hefty fee, a punishment fee for that as well. So after those two traumas, I just pretty much closed myself to life, and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna leave my house, and I'm not going to, not even the apartment, I'm not gonna even leave my room, and I'm just going to stay in my room and just watch Netflix, and this is just gonna be my life. And of course that was a huge period of depression for me. Then my sister moved to the country, my mother wanted to move to the country, and I was like, okay, why not, I mean, for me life is the same, right? As long as I have internet connection, I have my Netflix in front of me, I can just watch my Netflix. I can watch French movies, Chinese movies, and that I told myself this is going to be pretty much my life. Then when I moved here, I started, to see the open air, to see the nature, and I guess I started to ask myself, well, what's going to happen? For example, what will a newspaper write when you're dead? Tugi is dead. Long live Tugi. What did you do in life? You were very sports oriented when you were in Colorado. In Boulder, people do a lot of running and skiing. I love the culture there. I love the people there. I wish I had never left Boulder. I always dream of going to Canada, and Boulder seems a little bit like that as well. Then when you went to New York, it was a really competitive, really crowded place. Okay, culture-wise, the museums were great. The art stores, I would spend hours in comic stores, in Barnes and Nobles, reading books, and in little stores in Soho where they sell like little designer items. I collected and bought and bought and bought. And the downstairs of this house, I will show you, is full of old stuff and antiques and little gadgets that I collected. Like I love Japanese anime figures, the figurines, Oh God, those days. And of course I had girlfriends, and I had marriages and divorces, but then eventually decided to be single, because I told myself, your life needs guidance and regulations, kind of. You can't just watch movies all night, wake up at noon, and then do whatever you want to do. It's just not possible. So decided just to be alone, and of course my mother got sick So now I live with my mother, try to help her as much as I can, but I'm very bad in that front as well. I'm not a good enough son. I mean, I see other sons that do so much more for their moms that I feel bad and I get so mad at myself for not doing more. Um, and today is Mother's Day, by the way. I don't know when I will be able to put this video online, but today is May 8th, first Sunday, right? Or the second Sunday, I guess. Yep, the second Sunday of May. So that's that. So here I am. I told myself, what are you gonna do? I mean, in life, you know, you're born in '73, so you are 48 years old, right? Is that correct? Let me see. Yeah, 780. 49. I will be 49 in July 6th. So let's say 50, almost 50. I always round it up because I feel so much older than I am. So what are you going to do with your life, you know? Now that you have made your country house, this is your hub, this is your place. You're trying to take care of your mom and you're trying to learn how to live in the country. So why not do some social media like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter about anything you want, but especially about living in the country and trying to manage a life, you know. And so I told myself those things, and of course, all these things. I guess this year will be a learning year for me, because I feel like a fish out of the water. I mean, I don't know anything about how to increase social media. I mean, of course, in my previous life, 10 years ago, before the scams, before the accident, I did see those things a little bit. It was just in the beginning of Instagram. But I never really got into social media or YouTube or anything like that, which again, I wish I had done it, but you know. So at 50 years old, I'm going to try to, try to learn new things, whether it's something about living in the country or whether it's something about how to use bushcraft knives, because I got so stoked about moving to country that I bought a bunch of tents, a bunch of sleeping things for camping, knives and cooking stuff. I'll show you those things too. I will do many videos about those things. So I had the idea of I would take wood and just using a saw, which I never held in my hands before. I hope I will be able to make it. Cut the wood and then maybe do some little kuksas with a knife, and maybe do a little woodworking place next to my house, a tent. I had all these dreams, but so far I couldn't really make any of those things happen. What is stopping me? I guess it's mom, her health was going bad at some point. We were going to the hospital and stuff, and I was really worried. And I still have nightmares when I try to sleep about the people who scammed me, about my car accident. Really, those traumas are still in my subconscious. And my mother's worries that like anything was to happen to her is always in my subconscious. So I don't know. I mean, all these things, I guess, are stopping me somehow. but now I feel more ready to start making baby steps. So here I am trying to do a video and trying to learn from YouTubers, and I guess one of the things I could try to teach you is what I learned online, which is it's never too late to start your social media. It's never too late to open a new YouTube channel, even in 2022, even in 2023, 2025. It will not be too late, because I believe only 1/3 of the world for the moment uses YouTube. And there is all these opportunities of new people doing YouTube. I'm not saying it's easy, on the contrary, it's not easy if you're not doing it as a hobby. Like for the moment, I'm doing it as a hobby. But of course, I would love to reach more people, to grow my audience, and to try to eventually do some learning tutorials. Maybe down the road next year do an academy like Matt's course or Ali Abdal's course. But for that you need a huge level of knowledge. You also have to know how to create a website where you're going to put all your content there. And of course your content has to be worth, even if you sell it for $100, it has to be worth $100, you know. Right now I watch everything that is free. I took Matt's course, which was good, but it wasn't that in-depth. There were not that many hours of videos, maybe 18 hours of videos. You know, but my friend Nick tells me that Ali Abdal's course is much more in-depth. But everything is up to you. If you put in the work, if you put in the hard work, and if you are patient, right? Because this is not going to happen in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. This is going to take 5 years for some, 7 years for someone else, and 10 years for someone else. And most people, unfortunately, quit before they surpass, let's say, 10,000 subscribers, because they see that it's very hard, that it takes making content every week and editing it and learning new things all the time. And you spend so much time doing it, and you do it for free. You don't get any money from YouTube until you get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 12 months. And that's not so easy to do. And even if you do that, if you still grow slowly, the money you will make will be like $20 a month, especially in Turkey, where I am from, $50 a month, you know, those kind of things. And then you will have to pay taxes on that. I believe 30% or so in Turkey. Not to mention the hassle of, for example, I'm in the middle of the country. How am I gonna pay taxes? I mean, where am I gonna go? Of course, these are problems for the future, but I wish there was an online payment system like in the US. Well then, you know, all these things are learnings and education that I want to first learn and then share with you this year in 2022. So this year I hope it's going to be a learning year, because also, I mean, we can't keep on doing, keep on, you know, spending either for online courses or for filming equipment. Like I bought the Sony A7 IV. I was between FX3 and 7 IV. There's quite a bit of price difference. And also I wanted to also take pictures, either for Instagram or for just myself, high resolution pictures. So the A7 IV being new with 33 pixels, I don't know, it seemed more like a first learning camera to me. And hopefully if I can try something and make something happen either on YouTube or in another social media channel, you know, in 2 or 3 years maybe I can get also whatever that version, that year's model is for FX3. So more of a movie oriented camera, which also films 120p, so I can do really high quality slow motion, which doesn't heat up. I mean, this one never heated up on me too, but I guess I'm not shooting, I never shot in the sun for long periods of time. This is one of the longer videos that I'm doing, I guess. And I didn't even put it in the heat up. There's a thing you can do where you say to the machine, allow the machine to heat even higher. I didn't even do that. It's on the normal heat and it's working fine for the moment. The only problem with this is when you shoot in 4K, it crops, so you have to shoot it from a bit more distance. But I'm not even shooting in 4K because I don't have such great internet connection in the countryside, so it would take me forever to upload stuff in 4K. And I'm not sure how many people that watches my content are able to watch it on 4K. So that's something more down the line, maybe 2 or 3 years down the line. So I guess that's that. So in terms of niche, I don't know. I love to talk about my life. Apparently, I see this as a therapy as well. But I guess YouTube algorithm or the viewers don't really care about my life. I mean, they don't know who Tugi is, and they don't have a connection with Tugi, so they don't really care about my life. I mean, I loved watching Catherine Manning's YouTube tutorials. Started a few weeks back, watching all these things about YouTube. And then I loved when she decided to switch her channel into a vlog format, where she also educates you but also shows you her life. Of course, she's fitter than I am. She can take the camera and do all kinds of different things with it. And because my mother is not disposed to be filmed, she's ill and she's also covered, so I can't just go and film her like that. So I can't really film different places in the house so easily. I made one video in the living room, which was available then. I'll make some in the basement, but I have to do some arranging there. I'm trying to build a small home gym, so I have some stuff that I need to put together, but it's pretty hard to put together. If you follow me on Instagram, I put some pictures there. So that's one content that I live content, vlogs. Then of course I want to talk and teach you about again my life in terms of what do you do when you decide to open a YouTube channel when you're 50 years old and all the chances are against you making it. By making it, I mean growing your audience. I have 130 followers. Yeah, of course in 1 year I can have 200 followers, 300 followers. But you know, that means only 300 people follow me, you know, have to say, to hear what I have to say. So of course everybody would want more followers, more audience. But we'll see if with time I will be able to manage that. That's a goal that I'm trying to set myself this year, to learn how to make videos, to learn how to edit them, especially about editing. I don't know anything. I will try. with iMovie. I have iMovie on my Mac. I also downloaded Final Cut Pro. Premiere, I didn't download it because it seems really complicated. And DaVinci Resolve, right? That's the free one. That's also a lot of people use that. But learning a new software, that's a tough learn. I mean, that will take a few weeks, I think, for me. Also later down the road, I would love to learn about different income streams that we can have in social media. And maybe a few years down the road, I could have a course about succeeding in making money in social media, in having different kinds of Oliver does, passive income ideas, 8 different income streams, passive income, my successful Shopify store. So like Amazon is huge. I was always a huge believer. I wish I had never sold my shares in Amazon. I just didn't know when I moved back to Turkey how long I could keep the E-Trade account, or if something would happen between the countries, which was silly of me, I guess, yeah. But what's done is done. I wish I had kept my Apple shares especially, and bought new shares in Tesla and Twitter. But anyway, no whining, but just new habit forming and sharing with you guys whatever I learn. So I would love to learn and then be able to teach you about creating passive income, because because since the first day of internet, I was there. I was in New York City, and I was studying at Parsons School of Design, and when people were making fashion designs and then new cool things, like I did a foldable snowboard, but and a foldable tennis racket. I guess I had something about foldables. I was into product design and industrial design, but when I discovered internet, it was like love at first sight for me. Love at first sight, because my personality is, I'm a very much homebound. My astrology sign is Cancer. I'm very typical Cancer. Like, I love to spend time in my room, as you can see, with my laptop in front of me. And my God, do I love e-commerce? Do I love e-commerce? And am I a horrible addict to e-commerce? And because I don't understand people that drive 1 hour in traffic to go and look for, I'll take something difficult, sneakers, right? Which is hard to fit on your shoes. And they go and they don't have the Nike or the Adidas model that they were looking for. So they have to come all the way back, or they go to other stores, physical stores. Even with sneakers, I found the specific measurements. I measured my foot. I learned how I need to measure it. I read forums about people who bought this size on that model, what kind of reviews they had on all kinds of sites such as Amazon and other websites, and Zappos and stuff. And then I did an Excel sheet about, okay, I want to buy this Timberland model for the country for hiking, or this Salomon model. So my centimeters, my shoe size is that long, because here in Europe we measure with centimeters. I know in the US it's different, it's with inches, I guess. So I go and I WhatsApp the Salomon shoe people, saying that how reliable is your measurements on your online website. My foot is this size. I love the whole research aspect of it, and I love to write to foreigners in different countries, That's why I was so happy the other day when I usually use WhatsApp or email, but when Nick just right away called me from WhatsApp, I mean, I'm like, oh my God, he's actually calling me like real call, real talk. I'm like, hello, is this data or message? No, this is talk. Oh, talk. Oh yeah, I forgot about you for a few